So today we're reviewing
300. So before we get started, I just want to say here, if you guys are interested, I got bit in the face by a pit bull. The teeth are kind of like here and here, and the other bite's like right here. So it was like one big bite. So,
in case you were wondering.
Just in case you're wondering if you guys care at all. Just getting into our review of 300. This is one of our all-time favorite movies. It's 10 out of 10. Well, I'll say from the get-go, there are parts in this movie that we probably would skip if we watch it. It's not what we really watch it for. But the battle scenes in this movie are some of the best battle scenes in the history of film. And just some of the boss shots, the music, the characters, the special effects is just top notch. And this is definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. I mean, obviously it's in this series, so it's a 10 out of 10. But it's a great film, and it's a shame that there's only 2 editions in this universe.
Yeah. I know, yeah, hopefully you appreciate our night setup there. It's as close as we can get to the 300s. We used to always pretend like these guys with the shields were the Spartans from this movie, which just goes to show you how much we love this movie and how much watching this when we were younger, how much, I mean, when we saw this movie, we just wanted to reenact these scenes with these guys, and that's just how long we've known this movie, and yeah, this movie is just epic in every way. Now, this is a very loosely historically based movie, because there is a lot of stuff that is exaggerated, but it's just, there's no doubting this movie is just epic in every way. It's directed by Zack Snyder, and we'll get into the specific positives, but this is easily one of the most epic movies ever made. It's one of our favorite movies, and I guess we can get into the specific positives.
So, I mean, really just try to go from, like, beginning to end to try to hit each part. I mean, obviously, the thing I always remember most about this movie, not most, but, like, the thing I always remember as a kid was a really scary scene was just, like, kind of just, like, putting yourself into this, like, really tough world of being a Spartan. It starts out with Leonidas' backstory, showing how he was not a little boy, but he's, like, a teenager in the woods, barefoot, like, barely, like, wearing anything, with a giant wolf, and he has to kill the wolf, and, like, it's just, like, the way it's, like, howling is really scary, like, yellow eyes, and, like, he backs it into the corner to kind of, like, it sets up the whole storyline of them, like, pinning themselves into that, like, triangle. Yeah. He does that to where the wolf goes in and he kills it with, like, a perfect swing, and then, like, you see the training, like, punching each other, just to show how, like, hardcore this, like, area is, and then it just jumps right forward.
They're the best of the best.
And yeah, they're the best of the best, and you actually believe that. It's not like they just said that and just said and believe it, but they show it. They're all, like, ripped. They're all strong.
Yeah.
There's 300 men, and they're going up against, like, what is it, the Persian Empire.
Yep.
And they're outnumbered, and they get to this point, and then there's just multiple battles. Like, probably the best battle is the first one, in my opinion. Where
there's a lot of good ones.
It's the initial one where it's like leading up in the movie, it's the first real battle sequence, and, like, and I remember as a kid watching it, like, I felt like I was kind of scared of, like, if I was one of those guys, like, I can imagine this huge herd of, like, Persians running at you, and, like, you're completely outnumbered, and all you're doing is just sitting there, and then, like, they block them, and then, like, they say, like, and they, like, push them off, and then you just see them just get mowed down, and just absolutely no Spartan dies in his first fight, and then just then obviously I'll say a couple other battles, like the battle between them and the Immortals.
But I did want to mention this movie, in particular, the middle battle scene against the Immortals. Obviously, the designs on them are just crazy, and that's why I'm sure there were people in battles that would wear masks like that, but it's just really intimidating. And then the fact that fight is just great. You see actually Spartans starting to get killed in that battle in particular, which makes it more higher.
Yeah, you see him actually die.
Yeah, then in particular the giant blue zombie
guy fighting.
And that guy in particular, as a kid, I remember having a nightmare, and I literally ran.
Yeah.
I woke up running away from it in my sleep, so that just shows another memory I have with this movie, that I literally had a nightmare
really sharp
about that
teeth,
guy.
and then, like, it just shows how strong he is. Like, Leonidas, the strongest Spartan, was
Throwing
barely
him
he had to get help, I believe.
Yep.
Or yeah, because he had to get pulled down because he was trying to throw an axe at him, and again, just like. It's just there's just certain scenes that the music obviously alone is just awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a scene alone where they say, like, it's like they believe that they believe that they could do this, they could win, and they were walking.
We can win.
Like before they stay into a wall, because they knew, like, they had to probably do that to, like, when they were outnumbered. But then they just thought, we can just go into these people and just absolutely just f them up, like, from the get go. And then obviously I think another thing I want to touch on is just how, like, the special effects, like, there's a scene in that first fight when they start to finally, like, break down and get to the stragglers, like, they go one-on-one and just, like, it's a
slow motion.
It's kind of a one take type thing where, like, you see it follows Leonidas, and and the cool thing about it is there's stuff going on in the background that you really, like, have to, like, take in, and, like, he throws his sword, or no, he throws his spear, and he uses his shield and his sword, and then he does that like the shield move and throws him down. And like you hear his breathing, and then there's just so many Bosch the scenes in this movie. And then like the archers all shooting all the arrows, and then it like blotches out the sun.
Tail.
Yeah, that scene.
Fighting the shade.
And also the villain. Like, the villain's very annoying in this film.
Xerxes.
And another reason why it's annoying is you don't really get to see him die, per se, in any of these films. But
I mean, true to history, he didn't die for a while.
He is kind of an intimidating villain. He's, like, he's huge.
7 feet tall.
He's 7 feet tall, and, like, he is, like, in charge of, like, you can just... it's a perfect... He portrays this kind of, like, dictator, like, king-type figure, because everyone, like, serves him. There's people, like, people as steps when he walks down from things. He, like, acts really arrogant. He executes guys when they don't do it right, and you can see, and obviously the second 300 goes into backstory about him, but in this film, you didn't really know who he was. You just thought he was this, like, godlike figure.
And I honestly think the second one is actually pretty close to this one, to be honest.
Well,
I think we can easily review that probably again, because I think that's one of my favorite movies, too. That's almost as epic as this, but this movie overall... it has everything that I want to see in a movie. It has slow motion shots, amazing action scenes, boss walks. I mean, so many boss walks.
Brutal kills.
Great lines, brutal kills, great setup. I mean, and Leonidas, the actor for Leonidas, is just perfect. I mean, this guy is literally Leonidas.
This guy.
Yeah, this guy as Leonidas is just unbelievable. I mean,
And you care about...
watching this as a kid, this is Leonidas, and he is just... He might be one of the best casting ever in movies. So convincing as Leonidas, just being this leader, the stuff he says, the lines he has, and it's just so perfect and fits this role so well. And that's why at the end, when he dies, it's just so convincing throughout this movie. And he's just one of the best casting, honestly, in my opinion, in any movie.
It's
ever.
I think it's just as good as, if not better than, like, Achilles in Troy, or even Hector. Like, those two guys play their roles perfectly. And there's probably other movies we're not thinking about right now, but those are like that's a fight I'd love to see. Is maybe look forward to that on the channel. Achilles versus Leonidas. I think that'd be a great matchup right there. But no, this movie though, like talking about brutal kills, like there's that scene when Leonidas is just taking guys out. Like on TV they cut it out, but like he cuts a guy's leg off. You see like arms fall off, and the blood looks so realistic in this movie. That was the one thing I'll say this movie did a lot better than the second one. Was the blood in the second one was a little over the top.
It was,
because we saw the movie in 3D. And you could just tell the blood was just, like, everywhere. But then this one, it just looked more realistic. There were some scenes that probably were not as realistic, but the blood looked real, like, beyond realistic. I mean, the scene when that blue guy's head gets chopped up, you see, like, veins popping as it comes off. Like, there's other ones, like...
2007, this movie.
That's pretty hard to believe. But, like, the scenes where the Spartans are getting killed look brutal. Like, you see, like, that, what's his name?
Yeah.
Or whatever is the guy's dad, the son's dad.
Wait, hang on.
The guy who's in Troy.
Do
you know the guy's in Troy? He fights for Leonidas and
yeah.
but then like there's a kill where he gets stabbed in like the stomach with like a spear, and he pulls him closer. And there's just scenes like there's another one that's not even a real, like, it's not a name, it's not a Spartan that you know his name, but like he's getting like hit with like swords, and the swords look like they're hitting him, and it's just brutal kills.
Yeah.
And you really feel for him. It's a great storyline. There's an annoying character that comes in and rats him out because it's kind of frustrating. It's like if they would have just let this guy just literally, they would just let him run out there, you can get killed. They would never have to deal with him again. But instead, they had to tell him to get food and water, and he went back and told on him. And then that's at least there's like a lot. I mean, there's a lot of great lines that we can each pick one line at the end of this that we think is our favorite line.
Well, I want to mention that one with the hunchback. It's not my favorite line, but it's just he says at the end before they die, he says, "May you live forever," and then he's like kind of feeling that because he's going to live forever knowing they betrayed him, so he's not going to live a life.
His father's
which is a pretty powerful line there.
You there, Ephialtes. May you live forever.
But yeah, I guess there's classic like this is Sparta line, which is just kind of some people have made it to a joke, but it's one of a great scene.
A great scene.
It just gives me chills every time I watch that scene. It's just epic. And just kicking him into the hole, it's just too cool.
The spear, or the hole, the well.
Yeah, thinking that he's not going to kill him because, and it's classic. That's a great scene. And then, what, you have our favorite lines?
Yeah, as far as there's really no negatives. I mean, the negatives I would say is like whenever it's not on the battle sequences and it goes to like
Weird
stuff in like
scenes.
the weird like antelope things, or or it goes back to even like the Leonidas' wife storyline with like the people that were. I mean, it's kind of an interesting storyline. I've watched it. The more I've watched it, it's actually interesting. Like they're there was guys in 300 that were saying they need to pull out, but that when she killed the one guy, the guy that didn't want to fight was actually for Persia, so they were basically like telling him to pull out so they could just take over anyway. Like, that was such a lie anyway. So there is something interesting there, but obviously the fight stuff's better and it's more entertaining. But there's a lot of great fight sequences. There's a scene where they're building the wall of the
dead
bodies and they push them over, and that one guy comes over and he jumps like a mile in the air, and he's like in fast motion when he's just like and cuts his arm off.
It's very there are unrealistic things in this movie, but the bottom line is
it's good though. Well, then the end, obviously, Leonidas, he's a king, and he goes out like a king. Like he's the last one. He yells, and then like he almost dies like a godlike figure. Like he's sitting there with his arms up, and then he gets hit by all
very cinematic.
Yeah, seriously, and that's what Zack Snyder does. He does great shots like that. I mean, look at Zero Man and all his movies there, but. As far as my favorite, I mean, I'm actually a favorite character because I think we both would say the same one for favorite character.
Yes.
But as far as favorite scene, we didn't even talk about the rhino sequence where they kill the rhino. So for the favorite line of the movie, for me, my favorite line, if I can't say that one, because that's probably a really good one, I have to say my favorite line is they look a little thirsty.
They look thirsty! Well, let's give them something to drink!
Yeah, they push around the cliff. I know, there's so many good lines.
But no, it's not they look. I think they look thirsty. I think I said that wrong.
Oh, let's give them something to drink.
Yeah, and then they
To
push
the
them
cliffs.
around, right?
The whole movie is a great line, but yeah, there are some weird scenes. I agree, but the battle scenes just trump that easily. And I have to say, my favorite line is when Astinus and Stelius are battling. They meet for a second. They're just killing these Persians so easily. And they stop and say, "You still here?" And then my favorite line is, "No, I'm a little busy." And they just...
You still here? Somebody's gotta watch your back. No, I'm a little busy!
They just start shredding him like crazy. And that's easily my favorite line.
I think another one that might be my favorite line is actually, it's not really a line, it's a back and forth with, well, that's a good one. But then also this one where it's, just to start the battle, they come up and they say, "Spartans, lay down your weapons." And it's such a great line for today's age, like if people try to take guns away. They say, "Hey, lay down your weapons," and then a freaking spear comes over, and then they say, "Persians, come and get them."
Spartans! Lay down your weapons! Persians! Come and get them!
Like, that's such a great sequence, and then they charge in, just get absolutely effed up, and then and it's just too perfect in that whole sequence. What are you gonna say? Is that the best you can do? And
I know. Well, there is certain things about this movie that can relate to certain things, like you said, maybe like your weapons. But there is the main theme in this movie, though, that we can easily all get behind is freedom. I mean, that's the main thing about this movie.
That's what they're fighting for.
It's Sparta. I mean, it's really no different than America. It's freedom. Everyone wants freedom. So there's really nothing to get mad at. There's very bad people, and it's about freedom. The Spartans want freedom, and they're really just delaying that so they can get this army. And that's really all it is. That's the main theme on this movie is freedom. And so I think we can all get behind that, and that's why it's such a great movie. They're fighting for their freedom.
Yeah, Persia was trying to, they were trying to enslave children and, do horrible things to women and children. But you see, I don't think you see it in this film per se, but you see it in the next film with what they were trying to do. And it just adds on to why the Spartans were fighting for themselves. They weren't really... Well, then they create like a coalition to fight against the Persians or whatever. But
this is the ground battle, and the second one's more the naval battle, which is why.
There's also some scenes there's some quick scenes, like some elephant scenes where they push elephants over like a cliff. There's the ocean sequence where they're celebrating as the ships are getting destroyed. There's just so many great iconic scenes in this. There's just so many great scenes in this movie. And just so many great lines and great moments, and just so many great characters, and you really care for the group. And when they die at the end, it's really annoying. And when it's on TV,
really
it looks like he kneels down at the end. And it is the first time I saw him. Is he really gonna kneel down here and give up his and then but then
it goes
obviously
commercial
you see,
on TV.
Someone that we know thought that he did give up, but then 2 seconds later he yells and then something, and then they jump up and he throws the spear and it cuts Xerxes, and you see he bleeds and he's not a god.
Yeah.
And it's just, once again, it's great scenes. And then the end of this film, with the charging into battle, and it just cuts out. That's
that great speech at the end.
Yeah. I think you hear at the start, actually. Don't you hear at the start, and then it carries into the end?
Yeah, that main guy, he's very famous. I should know his name. The main guy gives that speech before they charge into battle with so many Spartans at the end.
3,000 or something.
They delayed. They gave them time to get all those Spartans, and they're just annihilate them. That guy is a true figure, though, in history. That he was called a traitor, but then he dies in that battle, and then he wasn't called a
Yeah.
traitor for that. But yeah, I guess final thoughts. This is definitely all-time favorite movie. Basically everything's good about it. There's some weird scenes, but the battle scenes are too epic. The characters are too convincing. You care about them too much. Too many boss walks and slow motion shots that just make this movie that amazing. It's too good. And the second one is very close, I have to say. I mean, as far as the battle goes. And that's
Yeah,
why I was
there's-
hoping we get a
yeah.
third one, because it was so close to the first one. They know what the fans want in these movies,
Yeah.
for the most part. And that's why I hope we get a third one. But, well,
Yeah.
I guess we mentioned that more in the second one.
Phenomenal cinematography, perfect shots, great music, great characters, great battle sequences, and just a great overall movie.
We'll fight
It
in the
is rated
shade.
R. Yeah, we'll fight in the shade, and Persians come and get them. So, great movie. Definitely check it out. It's rated R, so definitely it's not for kids at all.
Definitely not.
But,
Definitely not.
Yeah, definitely enjoy watching it. This is a great film to watch. Hopefully, the more we get support for this film, support films like these, we'll get the third film in this edition and complete
Definitely.
the trilogy. At least complete the trilogy for goodness sakes.
And I really-
let's
I
kill
kinda wanna-
let's kill Xerxes.
Yeah. I kind of definitely hope this. Well, I mean, obviously, I hope everyone watches videos, but I hope we can get some traction here and get this third movie made.
Yeah.
Because from what I see from all the comments I read in these videos, everyone loved this movie. A lot of people say glad it was made back then because it probably won't be made now. But I hope we can get some traction to actually get this movie third one made. But yeah,
We'll do a
It's
separate video
definitely-
to say we need a 303 and we'd say share that video. 'Cause this is just a review, but like
Yeah.
definitely do that for sure.
just be called 300.
Yeah.
303. All right, you can wrap it up.
But yeah, guys, thanks for watching our review of 300. Definitely one of our favorite films of all time. 10 out of 10. Definitely check it out. Let us know in the comments what you think of 300. And stay tuned for our next favorite movie review. Will probably be an animated film. There's too many to choose from.
Yeah, I should have a kaiju video up Tuesday night, and then hopefully we can might do a live stream actually talking about the which monsters, how many monsters we'll see in Godzilla vs Kong maybe, and yeah, then we'll see you then.
So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.
Persian! Come and get them!